Reverend Steve, keeping it simple. We're going to be in Matthew 24, and we're talking about Jesus speaking about the end times. He lays out the timeline perfectly for all of us to see. And now, this is the transition in this piece of scripture I believe that Jesus is talking about. Trans- the transition from what happened in the past and the time of the end. And it's quite, you know, telling when we read it. So we're going to be in verse 6, verse 7. Now he talks about rumors, wars and rumors of wars, and then he talks about wars again. And I want you to catch that. So there's going to be times of wars, and I think he's trying to tell his disciples, our brethren in the Lord, in the times of past, that there's going to be wars. There's going to be many things that are going to happen, but at the end, it's going to be an uptick, and I think that's what he's trying to tell us here. So let's get right into this very quickly. I have a lot more to talk about in this chapter, and we're going to be going through the rest of the chapter in this week and the following weeks. So let's get into this. So in Matthew 24, verse 6, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars. Notice the difference. But don't panic. I discussed this last week. He tells us not to panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. So that right there, he tells us. This is the transition. I believe right here in verse 7. Nation will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There'll be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world, but all of this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. So that is the transition. Now that, we've had wars and rumors of wars for 2,000 years, and that's been going on. Now this is the transition. Then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. You'll be hated all over the world because you are my followers, and many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other. That is the transition. That is talking about the times that we live in today. And I believe some of this hasn't even started yet. I think the war that's going to break out is right at the doorsteps right now, to be truthful. Gog and Magog is coming. He's being pulled out by his jaws. Think about that. We're going to get into that study, I think, after the Matthew 24. I'm going to get into Gog and Magog and what's going on in the world today. It's quite telling that things are happening and somebody's being pulled out from the north, and eventually it's going to end up in the Holy Land. God bless.